Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day today. I'm Chef Tucker, and today we're making borscht. Now, borscht is an Eastern European Russian dish, and one thing to keep in mind while you're making it is there are a lot of variations. So the variation I'm making today is going to make somebody angry, and it's going to make somebody else very happy. But if you're ready to get your fingers stained, then we'll go ahead and get into our mise en place so we can get started. All right, so for our mise en place, we have cabbage, potatoes, beef, pork, dill, sliced onions, sliced carrots. We have our mirepoix with celery, carrot, and onion. We have some garlic. We have a little bit of rosemary and thyme. We have some tomato paste. And of course our star, some roasted beets. All right, so now that we know what we're working with, now that we got all our ingredients together, let's go ahead and get started on this. It's not a complicated dish, but it does take a little while for it to simmer, for all the meat to fall apart, and for everything to come together. So let's head over to the stove and get started. All right, so to get started, what we're going to put in our pan first is a decent amount of oil. Probably about a half cup to 3/4 of a cup. I'm going to bring that up to heat. And then what we're going to add is our thinly sliced onions and thinly sliced carrots. Now these can be a little bit thicker than this, but I like them this thin just so they cook quickly and we get further in the recipe quicker. Now, traditionally, you would have them thicker cut and you would just take a lower, slower approach, but in today's world, it's sometimes hard to get the lower, slower approach going because you got to be moving fast. All right, so let's get a feel. It's warm in there, so we're going to go ahead and start. And we're essentially doing almost like a shallow fry with these. And what we're looking for is for those carrots to be nice and soft and those onions to be translucent, but we're not necessarily looking for any color on them. And as you can kind of see, there's a lot of oil still on the bottom, and that is exactly what I'm going for. But just go ahead and spread them out. Get them all on the bottom. Try not to let it caramelize too badly. If it does, it's not going to hurt anything. But we're not looking for a caramelization on this, so that's where we're at. So we'll be right back in just a second because I'm going to go ahead and time jump you guys to when this is done. All right. So everything is nice and wilted. It's probably been about 3 minutes, 4 minutes on my side. Again, depending on how high you have it set, will be how long it takes. And everything's just starting to get to that point where it's just about ready to caramelize. That's when we're going to add our tomato paste. Now, we're going to use probably about a very heavy tablespoon of tomato paste. And I use the tube tomato paste because a lot of times when you open up a can, you end up with at least half a can. And then you just kind of put it in another container or you throw it out. With this, you just kind of put the tube top back on it. And you just sit in your refrigerator until the next time. All right. So all we're looking now is just to move that tomato paste around. See how the oil's changing color? That's what we're looking for. We're just going to keep stirring it, keep mashing that tomato paste down, and get it to try to dissolve as much as we can before we add the next ingredients. There we go, that's pretty good. Next we're going to add our mirepoix. with our garlic. All right, now we're just going to try to get a little color on it. Not necessarily to caramelize again, just to help it along the cooking process. Infuse everything we got in there with a little bit more flavor. And that's only going to take another minute or two, just because this is a soup. So soup simmers, and this one's got a decent amount of simmer time. All right. Like I said, give it about a minute or two, maybe 3, just to where everything comes up to heat, everything smells good, and you got that nice aromatics coming from it. All right, now that we have our infused oil, which is the first step that we did, nice little soft onions, soft carrots, they almost disintegrate with the tomato, all kind of cooked in oil. We're going to go ahead and add our herbs. So this is rosemary and thyme. Go lighter on the rosemary. I'd say maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary. As you can see, not much went in. And like I said, I know the thing I found out about borscht while working with plenty of Russian and Ukrainians and Turkish and all these and everybody from Eastern Europe is they were very kind. They shared their dishes, but all of the borscht recipes were different. Some of them had no meat, some of them had meat. And I like the one that had meat just because, well, that's who I am and that's what I do. But while this is going, you want to go ahead and sear some of your meat. I went ahead and seared my meat. So just go ahead and throw it in there. Now the recipe that I learned has like 3 types of meat in it. I just have 2 today. And then next, we're going to add our water. All right, that was about 4 cups of water. I'm probably going to put a little bit more because I'm going to have to let it simmer for a little while because we want that meat to break down so when we get towards the end, we can pull it out and it just kind of falls apart and shreds. Because you can do it with diced meat, but I mean, come on. Shredded meat is always in season. All right, so now that we have everything in there, we're going to bring it up to a simmer. We're going to let it simmer for probably about 30-40 minutes. And then we'll come back and we'll pull our meat out, shred it, and add some more ingredients to it. We added the 4 cups of water, and I'm probably going to add a little bit of chicken stock just to give it that nice little boost. If you wanted to, you could use chicken stock, you could use beef stock, but with some of the lighter ingredients, the beef stock might overpower it. So I'm going to recommend you either stick to water or chicken stock. But with all that working, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a time jump just for your convenience. And I'll see you guys in about 30-40 minutes. So it's been a little bit over 40 minutes, probably closer to the hour line, just because some of these chunks of meat are a little bit on the thick side, but we are at our next step. Just going to put all of them out. We're going to give them a tear, we're going to give them a cut, whatever they need to break them down a little bit more. All right, now we're going to bring it up to heat, and we're going to add most of our ingredients that we have left standing. So we have potatoes. In they go. We have our cabbage. We have our beet greens and stems. And we have our diced beets. Point where we know when we are done is when the potatoes are soft. So just let it come up to a simmer, and we will come back to check on it in just a few minutes. So let's take a look at our potatoes. And they are almost done. I'd say they probably need 5 more minutes. We're going to go ahead and add all of our meat back into the pot. Oh, yes, 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 yes. That looks beautiful. We're going to add some salt and pepper. Going to go with probably about a tablespoon of each because I want it to have a little bit of peppery kick to it. Not too much, but enough. And at this point I'm going to also add my dill and any other fresh herbs that I've left out. Dill, parsley, anything like that. It's going to go in, and this is more like a finishing ingredient. You don't want it to be cooking in there the whole time. Alright, like I said, we're going to let it go for about another 5 minutes. Then we're going to plate it up and give it a taste. So I will see you guys back over at the counter. Alright guys, our borscht is done. Now, bear in mind that this kind of borscht with the meat and how hearty it is, it comes out very much like a stew, like a very brothy stew, not a very thick gravy or anything to it, just a very brothy stew. Very full of stuff. And this is the kind of thing you would have more like a birthday or a celebration. It wouldn't be something that you would have just on a normal day-to-day thing. That would be more like the vegetarian one, but with all that said, the smell is really getting to me, guys, so I'm going to dig in. Let's give it a taste test and see where we're at. That is so good, guys. It's very earthy. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it. It's got a lot of heartiness from the meats. The beets come in and just like I said, earthy sweetness. Oh, it's so good. You guys seriously got to try this. So this was suggested by one of my followers. Hopefully that person enjoys it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It comes out just old world comfort. So if you like what you saw here, if you learned a little something, make sure you hit that like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow, all that great stuff. I love to hear from you guys, and you're helping me grow, so I appreciate you. And as always, thanks for cooking with me.